Hey everyone, in this video we are headed to the Mono and Orangeville, Ontario area for a little weekend adventure, and we are spending one night in a pretty unique accommodation, so come along with us and see what we get up to. We decided to spend the weekend exploring the area and going on a mini adventure, and tried out winter glamping in a tent for the very first time. We visited some local attractions and small businesses to get treats and craft beer, and had a pretty low-key weekend enjoying the peaceful glamping site. Our first stop of the day is at the Hockley General Store, and it's not just a store. You can get some beautiful decorations and different gourmet foods. They also have the LCBO and beer store here, but it's also a cafe and a bakery, and the food here is absolutely delicious. So if you are in the area, I would definitely recommend stopping by. We decided to get lunch here since everything looked so good. Alan ordered a BLT, which he loved, and I got a ham and cheese croissant, and it was very tasty as well. The mini maple donut was really yummy, and I ordered one of their cowboy cookies, which was their most popular cookie on their menu, and I understand why, because it was so delicious. And I did share half of it with Alan. And if you're a Schitt's Creek fan and in the area, just a short drive down the road, you can actually see the Rosebud Motel, which is where they filmed the outside of the hotel in Schitt's Creek. This was a fun accidental find, but as a fan of the show, I was pretty excited to see it. And if you know us, you know that no weekend getaway is complete without visiting a brewery. And we found a local brewery here called Mono Brewing Company, which has 16 beers on tap. The brewery was decorated for the holidays, and in addition to the beers on tap, they also sold beer by the can. We each got a flight to sample a selection of their offerings, and we really enjoyed it. This was a great brewery experience and a nice break from being out in the cold. But then we were off to check into our accommodation, which was located about 10 minutes away from the brewery. We have made it to our final destination of the weekend, and we are at Mono Pines Glamping, and we are staying in a glamping tent for one night, and it's going to be so awesome. It has a wood burning fireplace, a big comfy bed. It just looks so cozy, and this is the first time we've slept in a tent as adults together, and it has a bed, so it looks like it's going to be really nice. We do have a little sled here that they provide to carry all of our gear back to the glamping structure from the parking area, because it is a bit of a hike. And if you know me, you know that I am not a light packer, so this is actually our second trip. The first trip we didn't take the sled though, we just carried everything, and now we are taking the sled for some of the other essentials that we brought just in case, because it is winter, so we did bring extra layers. We have snow pants, we're wearing our snow boots. We want to make sure that we are not cold at all. So we did come with a little bit of extra gear just in case, because we've never done camping like this before. So I would say it's about a 5-minute walk from where we parked our truck to where the glamping structure is, but they did nicely groom the snow so you know where the path is, and they even have it marked with some light. So if you are looking in the dark, I think this place is all lit up and you can easily find your way. And here we are. So to my left here is the toilet building. There is a composting toilet inside of here with everything that you need, and a little path to get you from that structure over to the glamping tent. We think that this is the outdoor shower and sink that is usable in the summer months only, maybe the spring and maybe the fall, but not winter. And then over here there is a fire pit with 2 chairs overlooking a beautiful snow-covered field. And there's quite a bit of firewood here. Alan is just loading in all of the stuff we brought. And there's chairs and a table over here. Now let's check out the outhouse. It had lights that can be turned on from inside the tent or inside the structure. And it wasn't actually a hole-in-the-ground outhouse. It had a composting toilet, so there was no smell. It was decorated really nicely, and they offered hand sanitizer inside because there is no running water here in the winter. All right, so while Alan is trying to split some wood over here, I'm going to give you a quick tour of our beautiful tent. Here we are, and look at how beautifully it is decorated in here. They have it all done up for the Christmas or holiday season with the garlands and beautiful pine cones. I love that they've got a wreath up there on the ceiling. And look at how cozy they have made the bed area. So a good thing to know is that they do have some lights here on the ceiling that you can control with this little remote down here. And then behind me on the coffee bar, there is a light that looks like it is plugged in. And down on the floor, they do have some outlets. So if you need to charge anything or use an espresso maker, you can do that here because there is electricity in this tent. And then on both sides of the bed there are plugs as well, so you can charge your phones at night, etc. Alan brought his large battery pack just in case because we did want to make sure that we could charge our phones and anything else we might need while we're here. Now we're just going to get situated, enjoy some of the beautiful sunlight outside because it is making it nice and warm in the sun, but still cold. And then we might head out to Orangeville for dinner. We're not sure. We did bring some snacks, but we'll see how the day takes us. This is just going to be a nice, relaxing, do what we feel like weekend. Alan just chopped a whole bunch of wood and brought it in, but there was a pile here when we arrived. And we did have to sign a form saying we knew how to operate a wood stove. So we both watched the video. I'm confident in how to use it, but I think Alan's going to be the operator.
Yeah, pretty simple and straightforward, but it's really nice. I'm impressed with how warm it's keeping this whole tent. Big time. I'm out of breath because I was chopping wood.
And I'm not because I wasn't. Anyhow, I'm going to continue on the tour here. They have a beautiful mirror here that's full length. And then beside that, there is a fire extinguisher and a container of kindling and paper. They also have matches to start the fire. So all of that is really good. They have everything you need here. And then you can see the reality of all of the stuff that we brought over here. So like I said, we do not travel lightly. We just watched the sunset and now we are getting ready to head into Orangeville. First we have to get everything locked up in our tent and then make the walk back to the truck. And I will say it is getting kind of cold in there because we did let the fire burn down so that we're not leaving the fire running while we're gone because that's a safety hazard. But anyways, we hopefully will get back in time to get it nice and toasty in there because it is really cold out right now. So for dinner, we headed into Orangeville and went to the Black Wolf Smokehouse for some barbecue. And holy moly, it was so delicious. There was a band setting up while we were finishing eating. So if you are coming a little bit later than we went tonight, we just left and it's about 6:15. There is a live band that performs sometimes. So that would have been cool to stay and see it. But we were so full, we needed to get up and walk, and now we have to go back and heat the tent so that we have a nice cozy tent to sleep in tonight. We just got back to the tent after having dinner in Orangeville, and it is chilly in here. Alan is starting the fire again. There's a few embers in there, but we had it out before we left just because we didn't want any fires starting here. So now it needs to basically completely heat up again. And I believe with the wind chill right now, it feels like minus 11 or 12 outside. So that's pretty chilly. And we've also decided not to have a fire outside for sure because the wind is just too brisk and breezy out there right now. So we think we're just going to hang inside, read, play some video games. There are some board games here that we might play as well, and just have a low-key night and try and keep as warm as we can. Well, it's a couple hours after dinner. The tent has warmed up quite a bit, but it is still pretty chilly in here, hence my sleeping hat that I will be wearing when I get into bed. Alan's going to be prepping the fire so that it's nice and hot as long as possible, and then he may have to get up a couple times during the night to keep it going because it is still pretty cold in here. He got his phone out and was doing temperature checks around the room. Over by the fire, it is super, super hot, but over in the corner that we are sleeping, it is not. So it's still cold in here, but I think this duvet is going to keep us pretty warm tonight, so we'll see you in the morning. I haven't been brave enough to get out of the bed yet because it is still really chilly. In the middle of the night, we ended up getting up and adding more layers on. It did end up getting warm enough that we had to take most of our layers off, but I had my hat on the whole night. I had it like this, just so that my whole face was warm too. And Alan was up throughout the night adding wood. We went through almost the whole pile of wood, I think. I don't know because I haven't got out yet, but Alan said he used pretty much all of the wood and the extra wood that he chopped too. But I am going to get brave enough to get up and make a coffee and then just enjoy the outside view. I'm going to put my snow pants on though, because if I'm sitting outside, I don't want to be cold. So I'm going to put my snow pants on before I go outside. Before we check out of our accommodation, I did want to share my overall thoughts and let you know our experience here. And I'll start with the things we liked about this accommodation. Number one, it was so unique. We've never stayed in a tent like this before, especially during the winter, so it was really cool to stay here. They also thought of all of the little touches. It's nicely decorated. They have so many cozy elements here, and the bedding was really nice and warm, and there was lots of it. It was really great and super cozy. I also like that they had a little sled that you could take all of your belongings from your car to the tent and then back again, so that made it really easy for transporting your items. And it's so peaceful here. I really thought that this was a nice, peaceful environment and a great way to go glamping. They also have a toilet here, so if you do need to use the washroom, it's available. But on the negative side, because it is the winter, there's no running water here. So that's something we knew coming into it. It didn't really bother us, but just something to note. It's not like a negative, but more of a neutral fact. There's no running water here in the winter, but they did provide water inside for the coffee maker, so you could use that. There was 2 giant bottles of water in there, so that was great. There's only really one negative thing that I can think of, and that it gets really cold in that tent, and the fire wasn't really pushing the air around very well. So Alan's side of the bed was really cold, or his side of the tent was really cold, but he just kept getting up throughout the night and adding more wood and adding more wood. So it was a good thing he did chop more wood before bed, because we pretty much used, I would say, 3/4 of the wood that was in there to try and keep the tent warm. So I think during the colder months, it's going to be even harder to keep the tent warm. But I think if they had those little air blowers that go on top of the wood stove, it might help push the air throughout the tent. But that was really the only negative thing that I could think about this tent, is that if you are camping in the winter months, it is going to be cold. So that's just something to know if you're coming winter camping here or really anywhere else. But otherwise, we had a fantastic time. It was a great one-night getaway, and I would definitely recommend it if you are in the area and looking for a unique winter activity. They are a 4-season tent, so you can actually come anytime throughout the year, but it was fun to try it in the winter to see if we're winter campers or not, and I think we might be. And now our weekend has come to an end, so it's time for us to pack up inside and head back to the truck. Zipped and clipped. Time to go. Well, I hope you enjoyed coming along with us on our mini weekend adventure here in Ontario. And I'll have a few more coming up during the winter months. So if you are interested in what we're getting up to, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming travels. And if you want to visit any of these places we went to this weekend, I will link them all below. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.